I hit the recording button, is being recorded and will be uploaded to the online learning section of the SSH website by the end of this week. Just to note, these are usually uploaded no later than Friday morning. We ask that you keep your camera off and your microphone muted for the duration of the session. If you have questions for the presenters, you may use a chat feature that's under the participant section to the right of your monitor. If this is your first time tuning into a virtual learning lab, note that these sessions are held each Wednesday at various time slots during IMSH Delivers. The last one will be next week on March 31st. You can view the list of virtual learning labs and register through the IMSH scheduler. And I'll now turn the session over to Bianca Caruso. Bianca?
Judy, can you see us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Bianca Caruso.
Hello, I'm Marty Mayer, and Bianca and I are going to talk a little bit about solving operational challenges utilizing the simulation information management system. The first thing we want to talk about is scheduling, and I'm going to turn that over to Bianca to talk to you about that.
We schedule more than 2,000 classes a year across 9 different locations. The way that we are able to do that is by utilizing the Simulation Information Management System, or SIMS. Instructors or course directors are able to make requests for their own courses, and we have hundreds of different people submitting schedule requests. At Wiser, I am the main person who handles these requests, but this is just one portion of what I do during the workday. Some requests are not cut and dry, so Marty and I work closely together to make sure that the proper room setup and equipment is available. With SIMS 3.0, all of the conversation surrounding the event that needs to be scheduled, as well as the subsequent changes that may need to be made, are kept in one place.
For us, and I would guess for you, scheduling has become more difficult with the addition of more classes and more students coming through the center. Making the scheduling process even more challenging is the increased need for specialty resources that are in limited quantities. Here are a few examples that we run into on a daily basis. Ultrasound machines, our Vimedics trainers, specialized simulators such as SimBaby, SimNewbie, and SimMom, as well as specialized rooms being used for select courses. It becomes a little more complicated for us when we put our 9 offsites into the scheduling mix. It is very important to track the requests so that all the appropriate equipment and rooms are available.
With all the different events being scheduled, you may wonder, where do I start? Classes here at Wiser are scheduled on a first come, first served basis. We do not give priority or special treatment to anyone in particular. SIMS makes this easier because the requests are all time-stamped and available in one place. We always encourage everyone to put in schedule requests as early as possible. When scheduling conflicts arise, we try to come up with alternate solutions, whether it be a different time, date, or specific room request if applicable. SIMS lists all of the room spaces as well as the equipment all in one interface. This helps cut down on the time as well as confusion. Individuals can also be enrolled into specific events on the calendar, whether they are students or participants in the course, instructors scheduled to teach, or someone from our operations team to help run equipment for the course. When students are registered for classes, they're able to view course materials such as lectures or videos, as well as completing different evaluations like quizzes and surveys. These can all be set up in advance to save the facilitator the time of doing these things themselves. You can also see who has completed what and how they did, or what thoughts they might have about the course. When the students are enrolled in an event, your center can use the rosters to track the numbers of people attending classes. This may necessitate a change in frequency of classes being offered, or help show how busy the center is over a certain time frame. Detailed reports can be run with the data collected from the registered participants. SIMS has the ability to set up custom automated email reminders for participants to complete coursework, for instructors to check students' progress, or for operations to set up rooms. This helps make sure that everyone gets the necessary information in a timely manner.
As I'm sure all of you are aware, efficient scheduling leads to the courses running smoothly, making sure all of the right resources are available. It also ensures that the simulation specialists are being scheduled and used in an efficient manner.
What are some of the challenges you face at your program? Please feel free to share these in the chat.
So Judy, do we have any questions or things from folks?
Yeah. Nope, so we're good.
All right, good. So I think, hi, my name is John Lutz. I'm the Director of IT here at Weiser. I'm going to actually go through and share my screen and show you how we utilize SIMS through there. This is going to be a demo site, and we'll kind of walk through all the different features and functionality that we have. So I'm going to go share my screen. All right. So what we're looking at here is sort of a standard user. This is an instructor that we've got in the class, and they've been assigned to a couple of events that they have here. So this is what they're seeing over the next 7 days that they are assigned to. You can change that date range as needed from there, so they can look at the next 30 days or a custom date range in there. SIMS has a lot of different permissions as part of the system. And one of the things that you can do in the system is manage different courses. This particular user happens to have 3 courses that they are associated with. So this ACLS, this Air Medical Crew course, and this Crisis Team Training course that they've got. We jump into just going to scheduling requests so we can talk about things that Bianca just mentioned previously. So here's our schedule request feature for SIMS. We've got this upper part of the page that allows them to specify the course, specify the location that they have, the time, the date, other important information that they have. And then below here is what we call the grid. This is all the resources, the rooms, the equipment, the personnel that are being scheduled across all of our different locations. We've got it filtered right now so that it's only showing us scheduled things. I can reset this filter so that it actually shows us all of the resources, what's available, and what's scheduled on this particular day. Back here. All right. So what we're going to do is make this first schedule request. So what I'm going to do is select the course that I want to schedule. One of the interesting things with SIMS, one of the features that SIMS has that our clients really like is this templating feature as part of this. So as part of a course, you can set up templates for scheduling. These will specify resources, these will specify the times, these will specify any other information that you can have about an event and make it very easy for you to be able to schedule that. So for example, I've selected this ACLS1 template that we have. And the templates are unlimited. You can have as many as you want assigned to a particular course. And what this is doing is showing us that we've got a conflict on this particular date for this template. We've actually got a couple of conflicts here. So these two are highlighted in red, indicating that they are already scheduled at that point. So ideally, the requester at this point would not try and make a request here. They would go and pick another day. And then we see on this particular request, on this particular day, we've got all green, which is good for us. So we know that we've got available resources. There's other things that are going on here. So that is just going to be a request. There may be too much actually going on in the simulation center at that point. So it's not a guarantee that it's going to be approved as a request, but we're going to make that request as part of this. So I'm going to click. Excuse me, I got to get some of the Zoom stuff out of the way to be able to do things. We'll click submit. And now what it's done is it's submitted that request. And then what's happened is it's sent an email back to me, or actually back to this user saying that the request has been submitted. And it's also sent an email to anybody that can respond to this request. So anybody that's a scheduler like Bianca would get an email that says this request has been submitted. And then they could then go and deal with this. This happens to list all of this particular user's current active requests. So these are all of their pending requests at this point. We've got them for a couple of different courses, different event times, got them sorted by the submit date here as well. So this is everything that this particular user has submitted that hasn't been dealt with yet. They can also see their approved requests as well. So everything in the past that's been approved is in there. And then they can even see the requests that have been denied. Yep. So yeah, so we've got a question. So we're gonna pop up real quick.
So the question was from Denise, and it says, is there a way to ask for alternative resources?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question there. There is a facility in there if you want to go and make that schedule request. There's an ability here to put in another note. So if, for example, they said, for this one where it was that particular room was scheduled, we could say, hey, can we use another room? Can we use one of the debriefing rooms rather than one of the standard ACLS rooms? And you'll actually see those comments get passed all the way through the request and then further on into the actual event. So there'll be a whole history of all those comments. Great question. So if I look at my pending requests, I've got my denied requests there as well. For this pending request, in addition to that initial note that we can put in there during the initial part of the request, one of the things that I could do as well is go ahead and put in a comment here on this particular event. And I'll put and ask for sim baby for whatever reason right now. Right. So now that comment is part of this request in here. And again, this is going to be attached through the request and all the way out through the event whenever it eventually gets scheduled. Some places actually don't want people to make requests, right? Some simulation programs want to do all of the scheduling on their own, or they've got some other facility for people to put requests in. That's fine. Sims is flexible enough that you can remove that permission from all users, so you wouldn't have that. It's also flexible enough for some programs, what they want to be able to do is every semester or every 6 months or every year, they want to block schedule their entire calendar out. That's fine. You can turn off the ability for people to be able to make schedule requests, do all of your block scheduling that you need to do over whatever time frame you need, and then turn that request capability on for people so that then they can go in and fill in around those block requests that you've got. Really flexible in terms of the permissioning and the roles that you can have in Sims to allow you to be able to run this just the way you need to. It's not something that's fixed and that you can't change. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is go over to my account in the system, which has a few more capabilities than the previous account, right? So I've got not only manage courses in here, but I've got the ability to be able to go make scheduling in here. And I can click on those pending requests and I can see those all those requests that are in there. Some by this user, some by other folks in there. In that I can see the comments that they have left. And if I select this particular event, the one that we just selected, it actually comes up and shows me in the grid with this template applied, this particular request. So that template has gone out, applied this. I can look and see whether I can actually approve this request at this point. Because many times in simulation, it's not just a matter of, do I have the resources in terms of rooms or equipment? Sometimes it might be a personnel issue, or sometimes it might be something that this particular event that we are going to schedule might be so disruptive to the simulation program that you can't do it. So it's not just a matter of, do I have blank spaces to be able to shove things into? It is, what else is going on? So when you select that, that gives you an entire view of everything that's going on at your simulation program, and whether or not it's going to be at a particular site or other sites that you may be part of as well, because that may play a factor into it as well. So I can look at this, I can look at the comments that are in there. So it's asking, can I get SimBaby? Well, let me go check, because what I can do at that point is I'm going to reset my filters, because I'm looking just for scheduled things right now. What I want to be able to do is see whether or not SimBaby is available. So I'm going to apply those filters. And it's actually being used, but it's being used later in the afternoon, which is okay, because they're just looking for this 1 hour time frame. And I've got my setup and teardown times that are applied there as well. So I actually have a little bit of wiggle room in terms of setup and teardown for these to be able to set that. You look like you've got a question.
There is another
All
comment.
right, fire away.
Okay, so David asks, is it easy to represent an event with a large group split into stations using multiple rooms with different simulation resources?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to schedule that entire event in here. You can specify that this is going to be a particular type of event. So for example, if you've got a nursing group, and for that particular course, you've got 3 separate days. One may be, cardiac assessment, one may be pulmonary assessment, one may be neuro assessment. You can specify those different things that you need for each one of those in there, and have those resources be templated separately. You can also do things with a large group where you're going to schedule, pretty much all the equipment that you have in the center. In fact, I think if I go and look at one of these air medical crew systems in here, this is one of the ones that go, let me reset my filters on there and select it. This will actually go through, and I think there's a lot of resources that are assigned for this particular so there's a lot that's assigned there. So the templates are not limited in terms of what you can schedule from the resources. The other thing about the resources is they don't need to be blocked for that entire class time. For some things, you might only need a portion of the time. So for example, for this, they're going to start to do some of their debriefing that they have. So they're only going to need to have the library for a portion of this time. They're not going to need to have it for the entire scheduled class. Same thing for that Vometics. Marty was talking earlier about this is a valuable resource that we have. It's a limited resource that we've got. So we're just going to schedule that Vometics for the latter half of this class. That's going to allow us to be able to schedule that earlier, just like we're going to do for this particular event for the SimBaby. SimBaby is being used in the afternoon, but in the morning, we're going to use it for this particular event. Anything else? No. Okay, great. So, hey, everything looks good. Greens across the board, thumbs up. Everybody's happy. So I'm going to go create this event. What it's done is pulled everything over from that template from the request. So basically, I don't need to do anything. It's already gone out and done all the scheduling for it. It's already gone and selected everything. Those comments that I wanted are here as part of this. So I can go and schedule SimBaby in there as well if I needed to go make a change. The times, the dates, the number of participants, everything is in there. So I can just go and approve that. And again, it's going to send an email back to that original requester that says, hey, you've got that event that you requested is approved. You're good to go. And that email will actually have a link to this page, which is what we call the event dashboard. It's kind of the central repository for all things for this particular event, right? So why don't we walk through this a little bit, because there's a ton of information on this page. We've got it broken up into different tabs as part of this. So we've got our info tab, which gives us some basic information about this particular event. Obviously, it gives us the course name that we've got, the date and the time that it's going to be used. The initial meeting room. Now, this is where we want students to show up. We don't just want them wandering around the facility. We're going to give them a directed place to go. Sometimes that might just be the lobby. We want them to start there, and then we'll move them into other rooms in the system, but we want to give them an initial place where they know they can go and get started. And linked to this initial meeting room is a set of directions, right? Both to the building that is housing this particular event, and then also to a location within this event. Realize that there might be multiple locations within a building in here, so it's going to allow you to be able to give them specific directions, even all the way down to individual Google Maps that will tell them how to get to where they need to be, right? So coming back, we've got those comments that we had, those original request comments that they had in there. So SimBaby is available. We'll put those comments in there. One thing I wanted to show you that I didn't, let me do another comment here real quick. So now we've got it on the calendar. We know that things come up, during the time between a course may be on the calendar and when that event is actually going to happen. We give you the facility to be able to collect comments about that event. And again, this is all permission-based, whether or not you're going to give instructors or course directors or nobody the ability to leave comments about an event. That's entirely up to you. So what I'm going to do is trigger this particular comment. I'm going to take away this resolved flag on here, which will leave a little indicator here. And we'll see this on the calendar as well, but it's going to leave an indicator that this event has some unresolved issue at this point in there, something that we're going to need to deal with. In addition, again, it's going to send an email to people that can actually deal with this event in there, let them know that there's some issue, flag them for that, give them a link in that email that will drive them straight to this. They can look at the particular comment or whatever particular issue they have there, and then resolve that. Sometimes people want to move rooms or they want to move times or whatever. What this is going to give you is one place to be able to store all the information about that. Now, I completely understand that not everybody is going to use this. You're still probably going to get some phone calls. You're still probably going to get some emails. But this is going to give you a place that you can capture and record that information to say, as per Dr. Smith's email of March 24th at 4 p.m., he said that using SimMan Classic rather than SimMan 3G is okay, right? So you can resolve it that way as well and still have a record there on that event. So everybody that needs to be able to see that can see that. So just say good to go. And down below, I'm going to mark this as resolved. Add that comment. And now that indicator up there, that little comment indicator is now gone from that. So those are comments, centralized place to be able to put everything around this event in there. Let's go to the roster. So this is where we're going to be able to assign people to this particular event, right? We can enroll them. So I'm going to get some students. I'm going to go put those in. So I've got Sally student, and I'm going to add her. We can have multiple different roles around this event. For right now, we've got instructors and students, but if you would implement Sims, you could create whatever roles you want. You could have senior instructors and junior instructors. If you wanted to break out the student groups, you can do that as well. In there. It's completely up to you as to how you want to be able to assign roles. Whatever's going to make sense for your program, you're going to be able to use that, right? So I've got one student in here. This was actually set as a limit of one person, right? There are ACLSers, one person to do their ACLS certification at a time. So this event right now is being marked full on there. There's an indicator there. If you have events that you allow students to auto-enroll themselves for, which is a capability that the system has, it'll allow them to do that up until they're full. If you don't allow people or allow students to auto-enroll themselves, what it'll actually do is put them on this wait list that we have here. And anybody that had requested that they be enrolled to this particular event would be listed on this wait list tab here. And then I'd be able to, or whoever would have permission to do that, could then add them into the event. Nope. Okay. And let's step now next to emails. There's a really powerful email system that's built into this. It is, once you've set it up, it's completely automated. It's completely customizable. You can have, for all of your events, get exactly the same emails. You can customize it so only specific courses get emails, or specific courses get specific customized emails, all the way down to the individual event. If you want to send an individual events to all the participants or all the students in a particular event, you can do that as well. When those emails get triggered, you can set that as well. So if you get added to an event as a student, so that student that just got added to this particular event got this email here. And if we want to go and look and see, we see who it got sent to, gave them a link to the dashboard on that will give them access to their material in there. It's got a map that can get them to the building if they've never been here before, gives them information about how to get to their place. Again, completely customizable for you. Once you set these up initially, they just run. You don't need to do anything else to be able to trigger these off to have these go. So it allows you to really, for thousands of people that may be involved with your program, everybody is going to stay very well informed about what they need to do when they need to do it.
Question.
Yep.
So question from Kevin is, can you batch upload rosters?
Currently, no. Currently, we've got them so that they're entered this way, but that's something that we're going to have in our roadmap that's going to allow you to both upload user accounts into the system and then upload the rosters as well as part of that. So something like upload an Excel file and allow you to be able to, or a comma separated value text file and allow you to be able to upload users that. So can't do it now, but that would be something that would be coming in the future. Okay. Looking at our emails there. So we can trigger these both by being added or removed from the event. And then we can also send these a specified amount of time, either before or after the event. Sometimes we want to do things where we remind people that are coming up. We certainly understand that for some folks, simulation is kind of a one-off thing. It's not something that they do standard, so it might be a good idea to remind them often about an upcoming simulation event, make sure that they're prepared for it. As part of this, review any course material that they need to before they come. So we can send emails before, but we can also send emails after as well. So we want to make sure that they follow up with some surveys, or we want to make sure that they let us know how the course went for them. We can do that as well. Again, very flexible in terms of how you can trigger those emails. I think. And then there's a whole learning management system that's tied with SIMS as well, right? We're going to have curriculum for students, and this curriculum can take the form of videos and PowerPoint presentations, and PDF documents, and quizzes, and surveys, and evaluations, all of those sorts of things, sort of the standard LMS portion of this. But we also have curriculum for instructors, right? As I said before, Wiser has hundreds of instructors, but none of them are paid by Wiser or full-time employees or full-time instructors. The vast majority of our instructors are full-time clinicians with a small portion of their time that is devoted to non-clinical time for education, right? So we want to make sure that our instructors are fully supported as part of this. So one of the things that we do is flesh out as much as we can instructor material for them, make sure that they understand the scenario flows that they're going through, make sure they understand the debriefing points that we want them to make for each one of the scenarios. that they're going to run through. Make sure that they're comfortable with all of the material that they need to be. So we can build out instructor material in here that they can then access. So the night before, like the students, when they get an email that says, hey, you're going to be at Weiser tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and you're going to be teaching the crisis team training course, they can go through all of the different information they need, for team steps, for example, for crisis team training. They've got access to all of that material, so they can go and make sure that they are fully prepared all the way through for their encounter, for their event tomorrow. Same thing, we can also build material for our operations folks. So if we want to hang setup documents or things like that, pictures of how the room should look, scenario files that are going to be run for that simulator. So if we've got LEAP files that we've pre-programmed ahead of time for the Laerdal simulators, we can upload those and allow them to have them in one central repository that they can go download. We can have links out to OneDrive or Box or Dropbox or whatever other sort of cloud storage system that you have. We've got that as well. All right, so this is an individual event that we've got. So we're kind of drilled all the way down. Why don't we go ahead and pull back all the way to the calendar?
Before you do that,
Oh.
we do have another question.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a way to track resources and disposable use for each simulation?
So currently, right now, we don't have the disposables on here, but we are going to include in the future an inventory system that will allow you to be able to track that. We're looking at being able to track resources, track disposable use for each particular event, attach billing for that as well. So at the end, you can generate a report that says, all right, this class used these many disposable resources from that, and this is the cost for that. And whether or not you build them out individually for that, or whether you just track that over time, that will be up to you. But yeah, having an inventory management system is something that we are going to build into Sims as well. Okay. All right.
One more.
Oh, yep.
Is the system cloud-based?
It's cloud-based, yeah. So this is sitting on Amazon Web Services on there. It's got redundant web servers, load balancers that are sitting on top of it. It's connected to a large database underneath and completely managed. This is completely managed by us on our end. So basically, you don't need to do anything in terms of maintenance or any sort of management in terms of the servers. Okay. All right. So we're at the calendar. We're looking right now at a week view on there. So we've kind of pulled out, kind of looked at the entire week on there. We need to be able to move quickly around to be able to see things. So there's actually some keyboard shortcuts that are involved with the calendar, right? So right now I just press the M key on there. That's bringing me up the month view. W key gets me back to the week view. The D key gets me to the day view. So I'm actually drilled down into individual days. And once I get to that day view, I can actually go and see that grid. So I can actually see each individual resource that's being used as well. I go to the week view again, I can actually go display all those event rooms that are in there as well. But that day view really is going to give me kind of that grid that's going to show me everything that's being used. And again, I can do things, reset these filters to see everything that's available. Maybe I want to look for a particular thing. So if I want to go look at, see when the classroom is available, right? If I go apply those filters, it's going to show me when classroom A and classroom B are available. And then what I could do is I'm hitting the arrow keys at this point. And what it's doing is it's showing me all the things that have CL in them right now. So if I want to look for something like SimBaby or something else, I can navigate through and see when those things are available quickly and easily. I'm going to go back to today. So it's looking at this whole day view on there. Any comments that might be assigned to that, the setup documents that we've got for this cardiac surgical course that we've got at our McKeesport facility. I've got those that happen to links out to OneDrive that we have. These indicators on here indicate that we've got, for us, that we have simulation specialists that are involved with this particular event. These color codes on here can mean whatever you want with that. And we're actually going to modify this system here in terms of these indicators and essentially make it much more flexible for you, to allow you to assign colors and icons to whatever you need to, so that they will represent whatever you need in your system. Let's see what else. And then each one of these particular events, this is where you get to their event dashboard, right? So I can click it here, drill down, and it's going to give me all of those tabs that I had previously. If I go back to that week view, I've got each one here where I can select. I can see that I've got some sort of unresolved issue at this icon here. So if I click here, click on the comments, I can see that, hey, there's still an issue with this one, and then all right, so now I fixed it. I'm going to mark it as resolved. Add that comment. Now that's resolved. And if I go back to this particular day, now we can see that that icon has been removed on there. So it's not going to be a flag for me anymore. So that's the calendar. We want to be able to allow you to be able to move around very easily in it, be able to see what's coming up, what happened in the past with that. So kind of a big overview. One of the other things that we've got to be able to do here is to generate reports, right? So we've got a couple right now in there. So some basic reports in there in terms of class activity. I can set my date range. All right, so I'm going to say I want to talk about this month in here. I can drill down into specific buildings that I have in the system. I can drill down to locations within inside those buildings. So I'm going to look at the 3rd floor, and I think can specify even all the way down to the course level. So for this, I just want to see everything that's at our McKee Place building on the 3rd floor. That was the 3rd year CCM. And then these are all of those classes that were part of that. And I get information about those locations, the course that it was, the number of people that were enrolled in that, the start, the date, the end time in there, the event hours, times of setup, tear down, all of those sorts of things in there. Any additional notes that are going to be as part of that. And then I can export these. I can export them to Excel, PDF, copy them to, or create a CSV file from those, which will then allow me to be able to import those into other packages that I might want to use. Same thing right now with event roster. So I can select my days. I'm just going to go grab all of them. Pick the wrong one. Yep, fire away.
Lists the number of enrolled, but does it track who actually shows up?
Yes, so actually right here is where the roster is. We don't currently, actually on the next build that we're pushing out, there's actually going to be a column here that will indicate whether or not they've been, they were actually present at there. And that's one of the things I didn't show, but I'll go back and show you. You can actually mark attendance in the system. Currently, we don't have a sign-in sheet, but that's something that's coming as well too. So there'll actually be the facility to be able to have students self-sign themselves in when they get to your program. You'll be able to have either tablets or laptop computers set up for them to be able to indicate that they've arrived, and we'll sign them in as being present for that particular event. Now, in addition to the reporting that we've got now, we're going to build this out much more. One of the things that we're looking to be able to do is to have a whole reporting mechanism. So we'll make a copy, a read-only copy of the database, and then put something like a report generating engine, something like Tableau on top of that, that will allow you to be able to create dashboards for there. So you can see both what's happened in the past, but do future forecasting as well as part of the system. So lots of things to come in terms of reporting. We're just kind of in a rudimentary aspect of it right now, but we're looking forward to being able to build that out more. I see some flashing, so we got some more questions.
Does the system have the ability to track educator and learner evaluations?
Yeah, so that's actually going to be something that we're just going to build out in the next couple of weeks. We've got quizzes in there, but surveys and evaluations are going to come. So not just the evaluations of the learners and the instructors, but actually we're going to allow you to be able to do 360-degree evaluations for any roles that are in that event, as well as being able to do course evaluations and build out a whole reporting system for that as well. That's all coming very soon as part of this. And then I think there's
So, yep. So can you see sites both separately and together? And then there's another one.
Yes. So you can, from the calendar side of things, I can specify and drill down and look at a particular location or not, right? So I can drill down and just show me things that are on the 3rd floor, or just show me things that are at the Keysport, so we can see, you know, those cardiac surgery cases that I have, or that cardiac surgery course that I have, and this back injury prevention course that I've got as well, right? So you can drill down to that, or I can go out and say, just show me everything.
The next question is, will the evaluations be sent via email to attendees, or is there a portal for them to access the evaluation?
So they're going to access it through the system here. It'll be part of those, that course curriculum that they've got. So they've got modules in here that they'll go through as part of that. They'll have the surveys or the quiz to be able to turn on. We've got the quiz system built out at this point, and we can actually turn that availability on or off, or again, set that availability based upon the time that that event happens. So you might want a pre-quiz that's available to them all the time, but you may want to hold off on that post-quiz until maybe an hour before the end of that event time. So we'll be able to do that as well. All of that will be tied into the system, and then there will be a reporting mechanism, again, based on the permissions that you have, to allow you to be able to report back out on those quizzes, surveys, and evaluations.
Lots of things popping in here, sorry. Will SSO be available with system, or will it be separate login?
So it's a separate login right now rather than single sign-on. We're going to look at being able to do single sign-on for that. There are complexities of getting through healthcare simulations systems to be able to do that single sign-on. So that's going to be a challenge for us. Getting all the authorizations that we're going to need to be able to do the single sign-ons, but that's definitely something that's on our roadmap to be able to do as part of this.
And what type of user security does the system provide?
So in terms of the
user security, yeah, sorry.
But there we go. Okay. So yeah, there's a minimum password, I guess, is what you're referring to in terms of the user security on there. In terms of the servers and everything, they're really pretty well locked down in terms of that. There's really no outside world access except through the website on there. All of the servers are hidden behind a VPN, essentially, and firewalled off from everything. So hopefully that answers the question, I think, as part of that.
That's it.
More questions? So yeah, I think we're done with the demo portion of this for right now. If you've got more questions, please let us know.
Yep. So Does the McKeesport site have the ability to do their own scheduling and manage their own dashboard and main site control their own scheduling? I'm asking because we have a satellite campus and a main campus with different rooms. And different
Yeah, so
schedules.
each of those locations that you're a scheduler for, those can actually be assigned to individual schedulers. We realize that for many simulation programs, you may have like one large building, but the third floor might be exclusively for medical students, and the second floor might be exclusively for nursing students in there. This gives you the ability to be able to set that one location and allow schedulers for just that location. You might have something on the fifth floor that they share, so then you would be able to share that. But you could also do that at remote locations as well, right? So you might have a main facility, but then allow other people at those remote facilities to schedule that, but still have all that information collected in the same system, have the ability to share resources across those multiple systems there, and allow you to report back either individually from those locations or from the entire system as well.
Nothing else right now.
Okay. Be happy to wait around for a few minutes as well for questions. If you think of questions further on down the line, or you want more information about SIMS, you can let us email us at help@simmedical.com, and we'd be happy to answer and follow up with you. Happy to give you a demo and delve down into a little bit deeper into things, answer specific questions about your particular implementation, and work through any questions that you may have from the system.
That's just a thank you.
All right, great. Well, thank you all very much. Judy, thank you so much for this. This
Hold on.
was great. We really appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're welcome. Thank you, John. Great presentation. And again, reminding everybody on the call that by Friday morning, it'll be listed on our website. You'll be able to share it with people you want to share it with, or contact Wiser, and I'm sure they'll be happy to get in touch with you as well.
Yep, great.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
folks. Yep, have a great evening, and
You as
hope
well.
to hear from you soon. Yep.